The sun blazed over the university campus as proud parents streamed into the grand hall. Excitement filled the air. The day every student had waited had finally arrived: graduation. Robes rustled, cameras flashed, and laughter rang through the corridors. Yet, near the center of the hall, one seat was left untouched. A white ribbon was tied carefully across it, the graduation cap resting gently on its wooden arm. Everyone who passed by seemed to pause, their eyes softening before moving on. That seat belonged to Stephen, a brilliant young man who had died months earlier in a car accident along the expressway. His friends had insisted that a chair be saved for him, a gesture to honor his memory. For many, the emptiness of that chair shouted louder than the cheering crowd. His absence was heavy, like an unspoken silence beneath the joyful music. Every clap, every smile, seemed incomplete without him. Stephen had been more than just another student. Born in Port Harcourt, he had carried with him a relentless determination to succeed. His classmates remembered how he stayed late in the library, poring over notes under the dim fluorescent lights. He wasn't the loudest, but his ideas had a way of shaping discussions. His dream was to return to his village one day, to build schools for children who had no access to education. He carried hope in his laughter and kindness in his quiet presence. Now, those dreams hung unfinished, like a song cut short mid-melody. His friend Chinedu remembered sitting beside him during their final exams, laughing at how nervous they both were. He remembered Stephen saying, "No matter what, we'll walk that stage together." And now, though Chinedu stood in his robe, ready to collect his certificate, the promise had been broken by fate. Every memory felt like a knife pressed deeper into the heart. The vice-chancellor stood at the podium, his voice carrying authority yet laced with grief. One by one, the names of the graduating class were called. Cheers erupted as each student walked proudly to the stage, shook hands, and bowed slightly before their family's applause. The hall thundered with joy, but everyone knew what name was drawing closer. The lecturers shifted uncomfortably, the silence grew heavier. Finally, it came: Stephen Okafor. For a second, the room froze, the air stiff with sorrow. Then, almost as if guided by one heartbeat, the entire hall erupted into applause.
The clapping was not cheerful, but aching. Tears streamed down faces, mothers, fathers, classmates, even professors. They clapped for a dream that would never stand on that stage, for a life stolen too early. The empty seat stood firm, untouched, its ribbon fluttering softly, mocking the pain that filled the room. At the far end of the hall sat Stephen's parents, clothed in muted attires, their faces carved by grief. His mother clutched a handkerchief so tightly it trembled in her fingers. She had once imagined this very day, her son in a robe, smiling proudly as he held his certificate. Now, she stared at the seat, hollowed by the reality of loss. His father sat rigid, eyes fixed on the ground, unable to clap when the name was called. Strength had left him the day his son was buried. Around them, families cheered for their children. The sound of joy mingled cruelly with their own silence. People offered sympathetic glances, but none dared to speak. Words could not mend what had been torn apart. For the parents, every voice announcing success was a reminder of their own child's stolen tomorrow. The seat in the middle of the hall was not just empty, it was a mirror reflecting the emptiness within their hearts. When the ceremony ended, students hugged, posed for pictures, and tossed their caps into the sky. Laughter filled the compound, but one area remained untouched: the seat with Stephen's ribbon. A few friends gathered there, laying flowers quietly. Chinedu stood still, staring at the empty space, whispering promises only Stephen would hear. "We did it, brother," he said, his voice cracking. "But you should have been here with us." The chair seemed to reply only with silence. As the hall emptied, cleaners moved about, yet no one dared remove the ribbon or touch the cap. The emptiness lingered, haunting, unforgettable. That seat became more than wood and fabric. It became a symbol of what was lost and what would never return. When the lights dimmed and the doors closed, the memory of Stephen's absence remained heavier than the noise of the entire celebration. The story of the empty graduation seat would stay in their hearts forever, an echo of joy shadowed by grief.